Hi there, Victor Prost speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, today I'm going to touch upon my videos dealing with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, the Founding Fathers, that type of thing. All very fun, juicy, philosophical subjects. I mentioned on my Facebook wall that I was going to be doing a series of videos dealing with the issue of relationships, personal relationships, platonic friendships, romantic love, family relationships, deal with questions such as values, compatibility, what nourishes relationships, what destroys them, what human companionship is all about, what type of needs that relationships serve, and the question of ethics and values and things like that. So definitely this belongs within the realm of philosophy. It will be a philosophical inquiry in dealing with these type of relationships. So it's personal relationships, dealing with all different types of questions when it comes to romantic love. What is love? What is romantic love from parental love or love in general, that type of thing. Just all the multi-dimensions of what these philosophical inquiry could spider out, and all the different branches that it deals with. And but now to touch upon the issue of the Founding Fathers, Declaration of Independence. First thing that I would have to stress, just from the outset, before I say anything else, before I talk about the political realm, dealing with the Founding Fathers and what the Constitution is founded upon, what it's all about, we cannot escape that the nature of this topic leads us directly right into philosophy. And I'll say this, and I'll say it a few times just to make sure that it penetrates that philosophy underlies all political systems. Politics is not a primary. Politics is not a primary. It rests on, any political system rests on a body of thoughts, on a certain philosophical approach, upon ethics. Ethics rests upon a certain metaphysics. It depends upon a certain epistemology. So when we approach the question of politics, we are immediately dealing with the realm of philosophy. It's not like you can separate them and study them as if they were two component parts that were indivisible or whatnot. When you study one, you're studying the other. So basically, it's all interconnected, you could say. So to give you an example, let's take the issue when I say that any political system is founded on a certain code of ethics. I know that there's all different types of clashes and differences and divergences and arguments and debates and quarrels when it comes to what ethics is all about. We can ask the question can a certain code of values and ethics be objectively validated? Is it rational? Is ethics objective or is it subjective? Is it just what's ethical for one person is not necessarily ethical for another? And does that include the questions of theft and murder? Is that subjective? Is your preference to kill me and my preference to stay alive? Is that just some kind of like prejudice, or is there a rational, objective basis behind this, where it's not just a matter of like differences of opinion? Just like you can have a difference of opinion in a certain scientific fact. When they say that the Earth is round, is that an objective fact, or is that just subjective? It would be argued, no, it's a fact, period, that the Earth is round. And so so you have those type of questions. And within ethics, like when you're dealing with these type of issues of life and death, and the difference between plunder and production and and murder and life. Well, you're dealing with very important issues that have a great impact on the world at large. So they're very important questions to answer, and all political systems rest on a certain approach to ethics. I mean, you have within, let's say, Nazism or communism, you have the subjugation of the individual to society. Does the rights, the supposed rights of society supersede that of the individual, or is the individual primary? Is the individual, the sovereign consciousness of the individual, is that primary? and where society is to be subordinated to the inalienable rights of the individual, what you have in the American philosophy, or at least in its original founding principles, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, even where the founding fathers are concerned, you must understand that they were they were thinkers in their own right. But they were learned men who studied the great philosophers. There's a great deal of influence in the founding fathers' approach. You have Herbert Spencer in there. You have John Locke. John Locke's whole defense and definition of property, of natural rights. And he basically, made the argument for property rights in the sense that we own ourselves, and therefore we own the fruits of our labor. That's the rationally based argument being made for the individual and property rights. So obviously, the founding fathers took a great deal of knowledge, and were influenced by thinkers, by philosophers who preceded them. And so we can just see that's the whole point here, is to say that politics rests on, as I say, a body of ethics, and that's very important to understand. So when I look at the question of the founding fathers and the American experiment, we got to ask the question: well, why did it fail? I mean, if the principles upon which that document is based, the ethical principles on which has import within the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, if those ethics are right and if they're rational, why did they fail? We can say that Nazism failed, communism has failed the world over, and if we can say that an individualistic philosophy is the polar opposite of collectivism and communism and Nazism, and we can ask if those were false, then how could the polar opposite be false as well? And why did the American experiment fail? Because the government is larger than it's ever been in its history, and it's just getting worse and worse. And the whole conception of the American spirit was based on an individualist philosophy. But now the United States is becoming like this quasi-fascistic oligarchy. Fascistic oligarchy with socialist underpinnings. I mean, it's a real philosophical mess. So this is the type of questions that we have to deal with. And what's the anarchist take, you could say, or my take anyway, when it comes to this document called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights? And I guess I can just cut it off there, just to give you a basic idea of. I wanted to stress, the fact that there's. We got to step back. As I've always said to Christopher Green, you just can't look at the bark of wood and go, oh, we got to get Obama out of there and get somebody else in there like Ron Paul, and that will solve everything. No, that's the bark of wood. That's the bark of wood. It's staring at the bark of wood. You've got to step back, take a look at the forest. The picture's bigger than the bark of wood. The picture's bigger than the bark of wood, and that's what these videos are going to deal with. Then I'll get on to my other videos of relationships. So I'll cut it off for now. Victor Pross signing out. Anarchist artist, pop goes the culture.